What up, Tycoon? Super excited for today's video. We are going to give another update on SPY and the S&P 500 futures. Okay, we'll take a look at VIX maybe as well. But make sure you haven't subscribed to the channel, okay? Because I'm trying to give these market updates as frequently as I can. And in my last video, I called the dead cat bounce. And there were some very big profits to be made yesterday if you had watched that video before the market had opened. All right. So we'll go ahead and jump right into the charts now. And we are looking at the SPY right now, okay? The S&P 500 1-hour chart. Now, there's a few things going on here, okay? We've been watching this descending wedge pattern. We had a very strong breakout yesterday, and we're approaching some very big resistance right here at the 372.3 level, all right? Now, we are currently trading above that level, and we have a nice volume gap right about here. So this suggests two things, all right? This suggests that, one, this is going to be a wall, okay? And there's not going to be enough volume to push us to the upside, or that we're going to move quickly through this area up to our next high volume node. Markets like to move from high volume nodes down to high volume nodes, down to high volume nodes, back up to these high volume nodes. So we have our first volume gap that we are approaching right now pre-market, with the big move pre-market and after hours in the futures. All right. So we'll go ahead and take a look at those. But before we do, I basically just want to highlight that we could reach about 375 to 378 before our next volume gap up here, right around 380. And if we are able to get past 380, then 385 over here seems like a nice valid target. Okay. Something we need to be very cautious of when things are running up so quickly is this pattern right here known as the rising wedge. It's a bearish pattern suggesting we could drop back down to about 365 if that was to play out. Notice how we're overbought on the 1-hour RSI. Okay, so it's going to be really hard to suggest people to get into call options right at open. Preferably, you would much more look for a pullback, possibly a bounce here, or again down at that 365 level for a continued move upwards. Okay, especially with this descending wedge pattern, it's the opposite of the rising wedge. So it would make sense for us to come up, get a little bit of a retest, all right, and before heading back up for a nice 3-wave Elliott move, or like a 3-count Elliott wave move. Right, we're looking at the /ES, right, and we'll go ahead and pull that up. And one of the main reasons that I was so bullish coming into this week was because we were bouncing, or we had the potential to bounce right off of our 200 moving average on the weekly chart. Okay, that's this level right here. And as you can see, we already got a very big bounce. Another thing I was very bullish about was this bullish divergence where I had a low here and a low here. And then on the R side, we had a low and a slightly lower or a higher low. That's what's known as bullish divergence. And it led us on that historic bear market rally. Well, what we're seeing now is a low, lower low, lower low, but we're seeing a low, higher low, higher low. That was bullish divergence. That was another key indicator. Okay, so we're coming up right here on this level. On the futures, we're actually going to be opening up just a little bit above it. If we zoom in to a smaller time frame, okay, let's go ahead and look at like the 15-minute, and we'll go ahead and look at this real quick, and we can see that we are approaching some very key levels, and on small time frames we have some bearish divergence. Okay, so we just looked at bullish divergence. What we can see here, right, is we can see we have a high, we have a higher high, right, but the relative strength index is peaking, right? The relative strength index does not have much room to come up. And if we look here and here, we can see again that's another divergence, and we're starting to see the futures pull back a little bit. So as I was mentioning, I wouldn't recommend necessarily hopping into any bullish positions at open if you weren't swinging anything. If you haven't been swinging anything, it's much more risky that way, right? Really, at these overbought levels on smaller time frames and even the 1-hour chart, it would be much more preferable to look for a pullback and then try to find some key support. Okay. Now, one thing that I really want to highlight that's kind of been my strategy and my hoping since last week was I was waiting for, a nice pop so I could get some more bearish positions, right? So I could short the market a little bit more. So slowly I'm going to be adding short positions. The reason being, if we go into the Options Trading Tycoons Discord and we search the SPY and golden sweeps, right, we can see all of the put options coming in, right? All of the put flow. All right, yesterday at 11 a.m., $4.6 million on the 348 strike expiring in October. Again, the 348 strike expiring in October, 3.6 million puts or dollars in the puts, another 3 million in puts right here. And it just goes on and on. Look at the amount of puts that are just flowing in daily on the SPY. All right, 342 November expiration, 9 million. 7 million on November expiration. We have October expiration right here, 4.5 million, and it just goes on and on. SPY puts, and these are all large block orders, sweep orders coming from institutions, right? So institutions are have been shorting these pops a lot, right? And most times that you see these dramatic rallies, within the next week or two, you see something very brutal in the market. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the third week of every month has been a major, major move. All right. So we're just now beginning into the beginning of October. And October is the most bipolar month out of all the months in the stock market. So you may see things rally really hard just for them to reverse just as hard. All right. So keep that in mind. I am riding some of the bullish momentum in some of these plays, but with shorter term option contracts, but longer term, I am slowly adding more to my short positions. All right. So appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like the video. Okay. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'm out.